is there going to be just like a lot of choices like that?
Yeah, leading, for us, black boxes are kind of the heart of the experience for the game. And prior to all those opportunities coming up, you'll do various different investigations. So once you get there, you'll be familiar kind of what opportunities you'll have in front of you. And you can kind of mix and blend as you kind of go through, which is pretty cool. Which is really important for us because we really want people to be kind of creative with the tools that you have, and everyone has a different strategy. And for Scott and I, it's been amazing at Gamescom and seeing all the different players kind of play different ways and do things differently than even we thought was possible. For me, my personal thing was doing a multi-kill finisher with Lucy is pretty awesome. I was telling Scott about that last week before I got on the plane. And yeah, just hearing what other players are going to do is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I tend to go in loud. Sort of I use my gun quite a bit, so I can draw a lot of enemies to me, and then you can also just sneak right past them. So it's great to sort of play with the AI, with the behaviors, with all the complexity that exists in the black boxes. It's a lot of fun, very creative.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I just go in guns blazing, and I'm just like, I'm an assassin, but I'm also really loud and just killing everyone inside. It's cool. And I mean, there you also got a little bit about the story, so you guys want to touch on the story about like the shroud and kind of a little bit about that? I know we can't talk too much about it, but what can we talk about?
Not so much about the shroud, but yes, we have confirmed there is a present-day threat in the game, so I know a lot of people are excited about that. So you'll see some familiar faces, some new ones. It's going to be a treat for sure for everybody. Outside of that, this is not really about a love story this go around. For the first time, they're actually experiencing an Assassin's Creed game between a relationship between a brother and a sister. So for anyone who has a brother and sister, you're gonna have plenty of laughs. They poke fun at each other. Jacob makes fun of Evie, kind of looking after for the shroud. He goes, that mythical, magical stuff, whatever. He doesn't care. And then Evie's making fun of Jacob because he's just not thinking about the consequences to his actions. But in the end, you kind of realize that they both need to rely on each other to really kind of liberate London and give it back to its people. So it's going to be a fun story with many lovable characters, a lot of historical figures that you're going to meet along the way. We've talked about Dickens and Darwin, and you hear about Queen Victoria and all this. So lots of fun stuff. Cool.
There were a lot of things, movies, books. I read a history book about that Victorian era. There's a lot of TV shows as well. My wife loves Downton Abbey, so she got me to watch that. So there's a lot of things that we look at to try and really recreate that time period. I would say for me personally, the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies of maybe 5 or 10 the past years were a big inspiration since they did a great job of making it look like this era, feel very alive and dynamic and like it was a real place, and that's something that we wanted to bring to ours, was to make it historical time travel that you can go back and feel like, wow, okay, this is what Victorian London was like. And I think once you go through the city and see the contrast, I think people will agree that we delivered on it.
So we're not talking so much about present day yet. We kind of want to hold off a little bit, but like I was kind of mentioning before, there is a present day threat. So in Unity, you had Bishop. She was talking to you from the desk. There's going to be definitely more than that. So yeah.
So can you tell us about a bit more about the economy system in the game?
In terms of like the character being able to level up, or the money you earn, or just globally, yeah. So obviously pounds are the currency of the time. As a player, we wanted to bring in more RPG elements. So you'll see even more than was in Unity. You'll have levels that you gain, and you gain those levels by doing cool actions. So for me, one of the main things I wanted to do was reward the player for making smart decisions, either being very aggressive in combat and getting multi-kills, or in stealth, getting double assassinations, air assassinations.
Hi guys, I just wanted to know how much time will we spend with Jacob, and is there 50 to 50%, or is it 60?
much time do you want to spend? I mean, it's really up to you. I mean, so basically the way that the game works out is Jacob has his own missions and Evie has her own missions. So you can't play Jacob's missions as Evie and you can't play Jacob or Evie. And the reason for that is they both have their own purpose and reason of how they're going about saving London. So we really kind of catered and designed those missions around those characters and how we kind of look at them and what their motivations are. But then out of that, we really want to give the players as much choice as possible. So the open world is the big sandbox of the game, all the side activities that you're doing. So you can easily switch between Jacob and Evie by almost the press of the button. And it's totally up to you what you want to do. And you're feeling like this afternoon's more about Evie, cool. And you like this evening it's about Jacob, great. They both have, Scott was kind of mentioning earlier, their own kind of skill trees. They share quite a bit of skills between each other. But then on top of that, there's some unique skills for each of them that you cannot acquire from their other siblings. So it's all about player choice, as I like to say.
Yeah, great question. Yeah.
Hi guys, I wanted to ask, Unity had a massive amount of customization. Is this the same with Syndicate? Like, or do they have like standard outfits and stuff?
We do have customization similar along the same lines as Unity. We don't have the same exact pieces, so we've broken them up differently for different reasons. But there are certain items that are only for Jacob, certain items that are only for Evie, and they have multiple different costumes and customization items. Yeah.
Hey guys.
Here you go.
Question one is, will there be a weather system in the game? Like, are we going to see snow and rain and daylight cycle changes while during free roaming, or is it just going to be during missions? Question two.
I'll give you some time to think about that one. That's good. So, is there a weather system in the game? Does it rain dynamically and differently? Yes, that does happen. There's no snow, so you're not going to have snowfall going on. But time of day changes is going on. And then what we did for certain missions is we really kind of want to highlight certain emotions that we want to put you in, and it makes sense narratively, like when an assassin would do that specific mission. Then we kind of pick the time of day, what it's going to be. So then if it's in the afternoon and the mission's at night and you go to activate that mission, we do like a quick kind of time lapse where you see kind of time of day kind of change, and then off you go. So you have a sense of time passing.
That's nice. Question two regarding side missions. Are they going to be unlocked from the very beginning, or are they going to unlock one after one, or like when you change time periods? Thank you.
There's a bunch of them that are available initially, and then you need to go meet characters in order to unlock more of them. So it's sort of both. We have some available right away, and then over the course of the game, more become available.
Is there a limited system, or is it completely?
We decided this go around that we really wanted to focus on the core game itself and really make not just like a good single player experience, but an amazing one. So we made the call pretty early on to really focus and double down on that. So we decided, multiplayer was going to be out this round.
Speaking of the story, do you have any plans to make the story somehow open-ended, or will it conclude the whole life of the assassins during this game? Like, I don't want you to reveal much, but are you planning on leaving some room for future expansions or future sequels that other developers may continue, or the story will end right here, right now?
You're just gonna have to play it and wait. That's part of the excitement of getting through the game and seeing where the narrative is going to go, and how Jacob and Evie start. You're going to see them grow and change, and as they go about in terms of where they start off as brother and sister and where they go through the game. So that's part of the fun of playing it.
Jeff, if we were going to answer that question, I would have earmuffs very quickly because I don't want to know. I don't want to answer.
No.
Forward? Yeah.
So it was shown at E3 that every borough has like an ally, and if you liberate the borough from the headquarters, these allies, they have power-ups, and they
sort of there's two angles for that. We have what we call associates. They're characters that you meet that will give you things they know London. So they're going to tell you about, oh, if you go do this thing, you're going to, it's going to get you money, or it's going to get you resources, or whatever. As you do more of things for them, they're going to give you rewards for doing those things. So if you complete if you do the gang activities, you'll get rewards from the character that's focused on the gang activities. So that's on the ally side. On the enemy side, each borough is owned by the Templars and by the Blighters, which is the enemy gang at the beginning when you arrive in London. As you fight the gang in each of those areas and complete all of the enemy, destroy their hold of that borough, the gang boss, the head guy that runs that borough, will come out and attack you. He'll start fighting you in the streets because he doesn't want you taking over his district. And when you've completed everything, then you face off against him and his gang in a gang war. So it's this big battle right at the end where you need to defeat a big number of his gang, and then you need to defeat him as well if you haven't already defeated him. Because I'm really interested to see how many players can actually kill the gang bosses before the gang war, because we made it possible. And I think it'll be really interesting to see how skilled players, or how tricky they can get in defeating the gang boss when he does show up before the gang war. But most players, I think, will take him out at the end of the gang war, and then they own that borough, and their gang spawns there, and it's much more powerful for their gang. It's a new stronghold for them.
I actually tried that at E3 and I failed terribly. When I was like throwing everything that I had, I was like shooting everything, throwing everything. I was like, no, and I didn't get it. But if there's no more questions, thank you guys so much for coming by. Give a round of applause for Jeff and Scott.